I have a story to tell, but I also want to. So what brings you into the room? Or kept you there? Do you have a reason to be here?
Yeah, I want to learn more about kombucha.
Kombucha. Wow. What yourself?
I love food.
You like food and like you just ate?
Keep on the mind.
It's like I was talking about it after lunch and keep people's attention. What about yourself?
Yeah.
Any other
items? Yeah. These two were here, so.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I don't think anyone's an expert in this stuff, so that's why I'm kind of setting the conditions for equality in this room. I have a laptop, but I don't have to be the expert. So, is anyone garden?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever made bread from scratch?
Yeah.
Anyone ever do beekeeping or be around bees or hold a bee frame?
I've carpenter bees. I've tried owls. Keep and summer.
Oh no.
Have you ever brewed beer?
No.
Made one?
Been around brewing here. And my wife is made bread from scratch.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested in culture.
Yeah. Culture vegetables, culture fermented, pickled stuff. People. Yeah. Okay. Come on in. This is very participatory. This is not a. Come on in. Come closer. Yeah. Let's break the lines here. Let's break the lines. So, what brings you here? Why did you want to come? There's 4 choices today.
Oh, well. I also like making bread and such. My husband makes too much of. He's interested in bees, but he's not here, so we'll see.
Nice. Cool. All right, well, should we get started?
Sure.
All right. So the laptop stickers, my name is Scott Henderson. I run the InMotion Startup Accelerator, which is helping high-growth companies that have early stage kind of hit that inflection point. I'm fascinated by people. My family's been in Nebraska for a long time. I come from a family of psychiatrists, and so I was raised around the fascination with people and also. Is this a clicker?
Let's find out.
No.
You know who is?
You got one. All right, this one. No, I'll go over there. Okay.
You sure?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No. I'll be all over the place. But if you guys want to sit on the couch, sit on the couch. Seriously, it's comfortable. Come on, we got to save a seat for you, right here. Well, come on, Scott. Come on, seriously, come on back. Sit here. It's very comfortable. I was sitting here, but I have to think for the next slides. So, here we go. What brings you here?
We just summed it.
Cool. All right. Is it because of the alliteration? Yes, it's the alliteration, wasn't it? All right. Look at the bees, Bucha bread.
It's perfect.
Go. All right. So, first off, never ask a beekeeper about bees if you don't have time. If there's only one thing you learned from this whole thing, this is not the reason for the talk, but this is why I'm giving this talk. I ask people who are beekeepers about bees, and all of a sudden, I'm down this whole rabbit hole, right? So, garden, made wine, made bread, kept bees. I don't know. So, I love digging in the dirt, right? So, I was saying I was from Nebraska. My name is Scott Henderson. I run the InMotion Startup Accelerator. I work with high growth companies. I'm from a family psychiatrist. So that's why you're on the couch. Right? See what I did there? I didn't mean that. It's great. But we always had a garden growing up, and I always had fun playing around with stuff. And throughout my adult life, I would have a garden. And I actually, so do you think our purpose as a species is to tend plants, bacteria, and yeast? I kind of feel like it is. Ever since the agricultural revolution, humans have tried to figure out how to ferment something to get drunk. You have to grow, so all these organic processes, right? So we get technology and all this stuff, it's going to fix all this stuff, mechanical stuff. But in reality, we are embodied consciousness. We are squishy emotional meatbags. Oh, come on, you can't be in the back, bro. You gotta be up here. All right, Scott. Come on, let's go. So we have a seat there. Or on the couch. Right here. Come on in. Feel close. There we go. Good. So I just you think about it, our whole society is based around growing stuff and then getting drunk or finding ways to get drunk, right? Yes. Everything. But we are emotional. We're organic. We're human. It's so easy to get caught up on the mechanical and the electronic. But whether it be fermented soy, sake, you got sake, sake wine, you got wine, you got all these ancient cultures. We were always creating something there, right? And then I just recently read this book called Jung versus Borg. So Carl Jung, right? Carl Jung, and how the Jung and Freud came up. And psychology came up at the time after the Industrial Revolution, where we, if you were in the elastic time, we had moved away from just the rhythm of time to this mechanical sense, and people going from culture of people around them to the cities and concentration of, and then all these things came up. And so Jungian psychology, deep psychology, basically says we are physiological phenomena because our brain sits on top of these sensors, and we have these instincts and these other things that come to play, and it's easy to get lost in technology, but you've got to remember you have this organic process. And I think that's all the stuff I got around is like the art and skill and craft, the technique of working with organic process. There's techniques, so technology, it comes from a Greek word called techne, which is art, skill, craft, and technique, as well as you want to put it into the term as practical application of knowledge. So you need to play with it, right? So I created a company about 15 years ago in Atlanta that was focused on these creative, collaborative communities through enriched shared experiences that were in these mixed-use, multi-tenant real estate developments around universities. How do you get smart people to become kind of introverted people to connect, right? So I got to play around with this, but John Maeda, who was at the time president of Rhode Island School of Design, then he went on to Automatic and also basically said, don't forget that people make stuff. Relationships make the bigger stuff. So get the relationship people part first, the rest will follow, right? So this is kind of the mindset I had. And coming from the background I do, it's this deeply human thing. And we have instincts, we have emotions, and we have this consciousness. So that's as our individual, we can then connect with other individuals and we can create this collective of what a culture is, right? And it's fascinating, this book about Jung and the Borg talks about how we skip one of these two instincts. We go straight to the instinct to tinker. But really, what we should be starting with is cataloging stuff. And what I mean this is observing available resources and experiences that then I can, as humans, we do that, then we can then tinker it. Which tinkering is taking the actual process of trying to harness them, right? So, but we have to really go and look around that. So as I've been around cultures of people, we do all these types of events, small, large, big, just getting smart people to come together, exchange ideas, learn from each other. Imagine today, we're doing it every day for a community. That's what we would do. That was kind of what we're doing. And then I started studying other ecosystems and cities using meetup.com as API, categorizing all of the technology events, the arts and culture events, hobbies and craft events, because you look at people, we are multifaceted, right? I'm telling you about Bucha, and I can also tell you about how to fund a company and how do you grow a company, right? But you might not know the different facets of me, but if we look at how do we get smart people, and then we want to learn socially, we learn from each other. Culture tends culture, right? You can see the density of where. So I started using the metaphor of bees and gardens, and where are the bees going with these flowers? So if I fly in, I was in Atlanta, so I'm going to fly into Chicago. I can use Meetup to figure out where the flowers do I can find other bees, right? So I started using this metaphor, and we started studying Atlanta because that's where we were, and we're showing not only where people showed up, but where people could attend, so you can start seeing the cross-pollination between different events. Each line represents at least one person attended the same two different events. Start seeing where the possibilities would be, right? Well, okay, Twitter. Back in the day, the old day of Twitter, right? I was following this woman, I don't know if that's still her handle, but basically it was on a farm to table, and she talked about Alaska sourdough. I'm like, what the hell is Alaska sourdough? Well, it turns out, the gold folks up in California, then they tried to go to the Yukon. And so somebody actually took this yeast from California up to Alaska and stayed there until about 10 years ago, where she drove it. She drove her culture that her uncle gave her all the way to Atlanta, and she started making sourdough. So she called it Alaska sourdough. Well, this kind of gave me a hint on this people who tend to cultures. If you show an interest, they will. She goes, well, give me your address, I'll send you something. All right. So she sent me this nice little thing of sourdough starter, and the story and recipes and free chocolates for free, right? So lesson 0, careful when you ask. All of a sudden, so then what do I do since then? Anybody shows the picture of sourdough or a starter? I got you. So I've propagated this culture beyond the bacteria and yeast that has a lineage that goes way, way, way back, right? And then I went and I tried to experiment with all the different ways to play with bread, right? So combos of actually making the sourdough and then folding into and baking with manchego and chorizo, prosciutto parmigiano, strawberries, basil, raspberry, bread, all this stuff. I don't know, mix stuff up. So, and this is like the bread I like. This is the kind of bread I make. I love this bread, right? Well, I was, learning about sourdough. I garden. And I was using this metaphor of when you build a community, it's about beehives are much better than ant farms. Because beehives create honey. Ants, they don't do much for you, right? Like steam. You don't get it, reap anything. There's no symbiotic relationship. Well, then I was at this event. We were doing a Saturday thing where there's tour group of downtown Atlanta. And I had this startup where she had Bee Downtown was the name of it. She basically creates these beehives on top of corporate buildings, and they have a leadership program, and they get to get all the corporate social responsibility points for honey production, the impact of having good pollination. And she goes, I started talking about bee facts. And oh my God, the fact that a beehive in the winter, all the females push the guys out, the guys get frozen. And it's just the women. And then the bee, queen bee, she's the one that lays the egg and determines if it's male or female. Right? And then, oh my God, the queen bee will fly up out into the area, and the drones from other hives congregate in some area. No one has a book. They don't teach these bees what to do. The queen just goes up in this area so that she can get impregnated and then come back from drones from other hives. I mean, fascinating stuff. She's telling me all these facts. I'm like, what the hell? I'm mind blown. Well, then I go literally the next week to Baton Rouge to my friend Kevin, who I'd known for weeks, for months, actually over a year. We were in a meeting and I used the bee metaphor. And someone said, well, Kevin's a beekeeper. He has 7 beehives. And he goes, yeah, in fact, I just live a few miles. You want to drive with me to my house and you can get your hands on bees? And so this is where all of a sudden I'm holding this frame full of honey and I'm thousands of bees. And it's like, this is cool. And then he gave me a pathway to how to build okay, here's what you need to do. Right? Because the Beaton downtown woman said, you got to go to there's a class, there's a 4-H probably gives it. There was one in Atlanta, and you can sign up for it. And then he goes, here's what you do. You're going to go, and you're going to go to the window you look at when you're drinking coffee in the morning, and look at it. See, okay, is that a good spot that has, the southward face of the sun? Then go get 4 cinder blocks, put them out there, and then wake up a day and say, do I want to keep looking at that part of the yard every day? And then decide you want pine or cedar as your hide box. And then just order it. Order your bees, order your box, and then put your cinder blocks. So he gave me a pathway. And so, therefore, I signed up for bee class. So I got to learn about bee sex. All right? So honeybees, when the girls, the ladies, when they sting you, they die because it breaks off the poison. Well, the guys, the drones, whose only job is to have sex, they don't need anything else except have sex. It's the same thing instead of a stinger, it's penis. And so when they actually are successful, they go in like this. You're seeing sex happening right there. He breaks off and he falls off dying with a smile on his face because that's the last thing in mind. He just had sex, right? I'm like, boosh, this is awesome. So here I am. I pick a spot in the yard. I get my cinder block. I get my stuff. I make my garden bigger, and that's the fun part. So then I got my equipment. But you order your bees, and it takes 2 months to get your bees because they literally have to propagate a queen, grow a nucleus, and go pick up 5 slaves. Well, at that place I was learning about bee sex, there was someone who was selling kombucha, because it uses honey. So there's the other kombucha which you buy is by black tea and sugar. This one's green tea and honey. So, oh my God, what do I do with the 2 months? Kombucha, here we come, right? So then I get my package and I put it together and I start making kombucha. And so much cheaper making it yourself, so it's awesome. Then I started doing interesting flavor combinations, right? Raspberry ginger. I started doing hot, spicy peppers with fruit. I started doing fruit and basils, peanut butter chocolate, all kinds of funky flavors. The only thing that never worked was this big jam that had garlic. Garlic is not good in kombucha. Everything else, I tried to bring the kombucha. So, and then, finally the bees come in and we get growing, and then you get to hold the honey. It's awesome stuff, right? So these are all the things I've done. So help bring people together. I've learned how to make bread, how to keep bees, how to make kombucha. And these are all organic processes. And it's funny because there's actually some lessons about it, all of this stuff. One is you got to focus on creating conditions to thrive, right? So bees and beekeepers we are the number one bee predator out there, hive predator, but we're really good at helping them optimize their resources and then stave off the mites. And we harvest honey that they don't need because we help them overproduce honey that they need, right? So in life, what this has taught me is how do I create conditions for thriving with me and the people I work with, right? Two is just let the bees be bees. I don't have to tell bees how to make a hexagonal tube. I do not put a workshop together on how to do hexagonal stacked tubes for storage of honey. I don't have to do that. I really want to ruin June kombucha, which is anyone ever had the green tea honey kombucha? It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what honey is, right?
Yeah.
You know how honey's made?
Mm-hmm.
I fly, I get a little nectar, I come back, it's in my little belly, and then I go to you and I say, hey, and you eat it, and then you go, blah, 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 and I eat it. So it's bee barf, right?
Yes.
So then we take the bee barf, we put water and bee barf together with this SCOBY, this old a culture of bacteria and yeast. And it eats the bee barf and then poops it out, and then we drink it and you call it kombucha. So I'm sorry for ruining kombucha for you. But anyways, back to this. So if the bees and the bacteria and the yeast, I don't have to teach, I just understand what does it want to be? What are these things want, and how do I help it do its thing? And this, same time, let me see what I can do if we go back to technically of the idea of preserving and cataloging resources and then preserving natural processes and then trying to bring it to harness something, then how do I put different flavor combinations? How do I do different, ratios? And let me push the envelope of what this organic process is and see what comes out of it. And then the other thing is be very vigilant. So for beehives, you have to make sure the varroa mites aren't getting there. There's other stuff that can kill off your bees. I lost my beehives because of varroa mites basically overproduced, and there weren't enough bees clusters in the wintertime, and we had a cold snap, and they can, as a creature, as bees can actually create heat together, not by themselves. So there's a critical mass of heat that you have to keep, and they unfortunately didn't keep, so I lost the bees. You have to be very vigilant. So you with kombucha and SCOBY and yeast, you can't let it get too hot. It'll kill off. Can't let that black fungus come in. So you got to be careful on that. So you got to be your gardens. You got to weed your gardens, right? And then at the end, share the bounty. This is the best part about all this stuff, right? I make bread so that I can give it away and have just a little bit rather than eat it all. Or make the kombucha, I get to share it, and it would be so much fun for me to share and try the flavor combination and say, hey, what do you guys think, dark chocolate or milk chocolate on the kombucha? Oh, definitely dark chocolate and with a raspberry. That's perfect right there. And so, you get asked to have a bro day, and we have a bro bread down, and we just throw it up. It's kind of fun. So there you go. Thanks. I did. Yeah, it was delicious. Now I feel bad that I talked about this. I didn't prepare anything for you. But that's the starting point. So what's thoughts of this spark for you guys? Yeah.
Have you tried red raspberry leaf tea?
What's that?
Have you tried red raspberry leaf tea?
Ooh, no.
It tastes like black tea, but it is red raspberry leaves, so there's no caffeine. It is the strangest thing, but it doesn't make sense. If you like black tea and you don't want caffeine, red raspberry leaves.
Interesting. So you just take it, steep it, and then drink it. Or
Is the bread baking something you could do for like a children's birthday party? You mentioned you had kids.
Yeah. I'm going to start a SaaS company, sourdough as a service.
Yeah, a birthday party I went to as a kid was making pulling taffy.
Oh, really? That'd be a cool idea.
Pulling taffy was like very annoying.
Yeah.
And I would love to host that in a place that is not my own for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, you gotta have a big cauldron and the thing that pulls it.
And then, yeah, like we made like teams of 2 kids, so you can't like monitor, 10 teams of kids, right? But that's why I was asking about like, making bread as an activity, because that seems easier to clean up.
So I said it's funny, like bread, I like doing small batch, bespoke kind of stuff. But I've been asked, like, when they try my bread, it's like, I've got a crunch to it. It would be good. You should do this. I mean, if I start doing this at a scale, then I'm going to lose any desire for it because, I'm just trying to break it. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make money, but parties are participatory where what ingredients you want to put in. And
you can bring your own
you break the bread.
ingredients to bring.
And then it takes 45 minutes to cook, so there'd have to be something for these kids to do for 45 minutes. And then,
That's perfect.
Do you rise or shower?
well, yeah, it's true. You'd have to. It'd almost be like you do it. So how I make kombucha and how I make sourdough is very similar. Where I use the same basic dough or the basic kombucha, and then there's a second fermentation within kombucha. So with kombucha, you got this little SCOBY thing, right? It's kind of like the consistency like a sushi, like a piece of sushi fish, raw fish, and it grows in layers. So when you see a SCOBY, industrial SCOBYs are huge and they can be thick. And it forms a new layer each time. So you want to peel off the bottom of the stuff so that over time you can get a SCOBY that can get that thick. And you're not getting a lot of kombucha in your jar because it's got so much. But it's great because then you can take it and you can cut it up and eat it. Like this.
I've seen them in real life before. I don't know about
I know, right? Okay, first off, you have to be okay with the mouthfeel of squishy, uncooked meat, right? Right? But then if you like pecan, like sour sweet, it's beautiful. It's like a citrusy flavor to it.
Put honey on
it? You can actually make jerky out of it. You can take that SCOBY and dehydrate it, and you can put jerky, spicy chicken stuff. You can do teriyaki. I've done all kinds of flavors with the SCOBY itself. But how I make the kombucha, I just make the standard first fermentation. I found the ratio of the honey to water to SCOBY, and then about a 3-day fermentation. Because after 3 days, it starts getting kind of sour. And the longer you do it, the more sour it gets because it's processing the sugar out. And then it's 3 day, and then the second fermentation which is part of the so for the bread, I use King Arthur's no knead recipe, which I can do this blindfolded. Just give me a cup and a 2 cup. And a 1 tablespoon, and I got you.
You got bread.
I got it, right? If you give me, if I had my starter there, do it. Because it's 1 3/4 water, 1 cup of the starter, which you keep in the fridge, right? And then the night before you bring it out, you feed it some water, a 1-to-1 ratio of water and flour, so that it gets nice and bubbly. And then you put a cup of that in with the 1 3 cups water, 1 tablespoon of salt, mix it together into a slurry, and then 5 cups of red flour, and then kind of just combine it, and then put it in a bowl. Let it sit for an hour. Take it out, just fold it into itself once or twice. Let it sit for an hour. Do it again, and then I let it sit overnight.
Overnight.
Okay. And then I wake up, get the bread, get the dough out, and just kind of mix whatever I want to mix into it. Just fold it into it, and then I put it in my Dutch oven. You have to use cast iron Dutch oven because there's something magical about having a lid on there and the radiation of the heat back at it for 30 minutes. You put it in. I put it in 475. After an hour, let it sit. So this second the final proof is about another hour or so, and then next level, my brother-in-law gave me a lame knife, a little tiny little razor blade, French. And you just go, you do signs, and it looks like you just paid $40 for that bread. Awesome. Same bread. And then, so I do that, put that in, cook it for 30 minutes at 475, take the lid off for 15, and then just take it out, let it sit for a little bit. You gotta let it sit, cool a little bit, and then just slice it and start eating. That's so good. Yeah, so the kombucha, I would do the first one, and then after 3 days, I would decide to do the second combination. That's where I do the flavor combination. So I went to the beer bottle place. I got beer bottles and all stuff that had the ones that had the flip tops, so that I could fill them up and then put the flavors in. Cinnamon sticks in the kombucha, awesome. And then whatever experiment I would do, and then I would let it sit for a day or two, and then pop it open. So if we're going to do birthday parties, there's a delayed gratification process.
Long process.
Can't do my do that.
Chocolate cookies. But no, I don't have time to be able to say that. Right? So the whole thing is, these are all organic processes. These are all things that we have to be observable, and then see what resources we have, and then we can then figure out how to take advantage of natural processes. And that's everything I've learned about people, red, kombucha, and yeast.
Amazing.
All right.